I have three sons, and the goal originally was if I cash out of my meat suit unexpectedly, which I don't think is going to happen, but if I did, how do I build a life's manual that they could refer to? And so that was kind of my orientation. And then it was a process of my own journey here in this particular lifetime, and then what I spend most of my time coaching around. I've more or less been a coach most of my life. I certainly came in as a teacher, and that's really my reason for being here. It's like, okay, well, what is the most of the message? What is most of the people that I work with struggling with? And ultimately it came down to identity. I have a degree in biblical study. I'm a third generation pastor's kid, for better or for worse. And so I had a lot of framing to the Bible early in life. And that gave me a lot of grounding that allowed me to kind of see how the avatars over the years have showed up, including Jesus. And before he started his ministry, the big question was, the big test was around identity. And I really believe most of what people struggle with here is tied to identity. If we simply remembered who we really are, everything would change. And the struggle, the adventure, the unfolding is really tied to that process of awakening to the remembering of who we are. Some may say creating who we are, and if that resonates, I'm cool with it. But ultimately, it's coming down to solidifying our identity. And so the core concept is closing the identity gap. And the identity gap is the difference between who we think we are and who we really are, or who we pretend we are, or we front that we are. And it's the ideal versus the real. And most of our ideal self is set before we're conscious. It's imposed on us by our family, our culture, our religion. And so we come in and are indoctrinated into a value system that may or may not be our own, and we haven't even tested it yet, right? It's very theoretical. And so a lot of the 20s is tumultuous for people because they haven't figured out who they are yet. They don't really know what they value, and a lot of what they think they value, they were told to value. And so they're living in their ideal self. And our power is found when we close that gap and we get back to authentically who we actually are, the real and the ideal. And so the closer we are to our real selves, the more power we have to actually create and move the needle in our life. We're pretty powerless when we live from the ideal place, and it's exhausting because it's not actually who we are. So we're not aligned, and when we're not aligned, we don't bear the fruit in our lives that we intend to. And if somebody's super lost in the sauce, they'll be very confused by this, and usually their framing is life is happening to me. They feel very frustrated. They feel like life isn't fair. They haven't recognized yet they're not living their true, authentic self. And that's most of our world, especially in Western society. We're pretty lost in fronting an identity that isn't truly us.